How many of you can relate to the juggler here on the left? Yeah, let's see. Should I be getting, guiding, running, doing? Should I be managing? Should I be leading, etc.? You know, all the people involved in the 5 weeks are familiar with the juggler, and most of us all too personally. When you're running a business with less than 100 employees, there are frequently very few resources left over to be able to prioritize and identify what needs to be done. But what we all want to do is get you over here. And basically, a company that's running in formation has a much better chance of competing in a very tough marketplace than the juggler. And which one are you? So having said that, we want to move to the next level, which is this is where we're going with this. It starts with balancing leadership on the people side and managing our behavior. We have to shift our beliefs to set and achieve the purpose of the organization, and that has to be bigger than any one of us in it, including our own behavior and our own leadership role. We have to get personal authority instead of position authority. What we are offering is this course, Get What You Want with What You Got, 30 minutes a day to lead people and manage work and win in life. Because if you can balance the leadership, which is very lonely at times, along with management, you have a very good chance of being able to succeed. We believe strongly in this segment. We promise to show you how to cut 1/3 of your employee, vendor, and customer churn. There are no magic bullets, and we know that. But with the proper tools, resources, self-discipline, leaders can transform their business every day, and they do. And so what we want to do is to help you to understand that we want you to reframe your leadership and management. We've explained that. Now what we want to do is help you reinvent yourself and your culture and redefine relationships. First, we create our belief sets, and then our belief sets create us. And what we've tried to do here is show you that we have 5 belief sets that need to be shifted. Even only 15% can make a huge change in your business. And these 5 keys are this. 1 is become more effective at planning. Do you have the business, marketing, hire, and operations plan that you need to be able to move forward? B is priorities. What high payoff priorities are important to you, and what are being avoided in the day-to-day rush? Analysis. What is and who is doing market research? Who's checking on your costs? Who's measuring the results against goals? Are these being done at all, or are they just being put on the sideline? Scheduling. Do you have scheduled time for non-negotiable time for the big important things, or are they eaten up by the mundane interruptions of firefighting that are so typical in these small organizations? And it's up to you to make that control happen. And whether it's only 2% of your time, which is 30 minutes, or even less, you have to be able to set it aside. And finally here, the habit of effective management is organization. Is everything you and the staff need where they can find it now? For the purpose of this is highlighted in green because this is where we're going. We're going to help you analyze your time use so you can make more effective use of your time and the people in it. I'd like, if you would, to turn to your download for the 5-week power target. Let's look at the management belief set, and this is on page 1. What I'd like you to do with me, if you can, is remember that this is about answering these questions as honestly as you can. And 4 is always, 3 is usually, 2 is sometimes, and 1 is never. So what I'd like you to do is you go through this very briefly. Do you plan the most important things you need to achieve your long and short-term work and personal goals? And take a look, make a note on your own form. Do you and your organization have the same priorities for customers, productivity, profit, and treatment of each other? And you might ask your people that, because basically whether you're a leader or manager, you need to know this. 3, do you analyze how to spend your time at work and home? We're going to go through that in a great deal of detail here, but it's a place to start. 5, do you schedule time for your key goals on a consistent daily basis? And here, E, do you organize your life, space, and paperwork so that you never have to look for anything? And again, respond. Always, usually, sometimes, never. And give yourself a score here, and then total it at the bottom. Now, where are you and your people currently spending your time? This is very, very important. And I want you to look at this because this will define for you an awful lot of what happens. Most of us start here. this is costly and of no value to the organization. How much time you spend there is very important. This is what we redefine. These two are defined as the fix-it phase. And in order to get to the next level, you have to improve this one. This is the growth phase. So here what we want you to just look at is that 1 is not important and not urgent. 2 is not important but urgent. 3 is important and urgent, where you spend most of your day-to-day activities. And 4, the critical part that we'll be moving ahead on here, is this phase, important but not urgent. And as Stephen Covey says, these 3 will always eat up this one, because the tyranny of the urgent will be more important than the joy of the important. What we want you to do is set aside time for 3 and 4, profitable things in your life, and 1 and 2 won't bankrupt you. Level 1. Here's where we're going to start. These people are in contempt and hostility. They are a minority of about 2 to 5%, but they are a cancer and can destroy your business. And here's their motto: whatever. And what we want you to realize is, in that quadrant, they are leading the organization in a direction that is sabotaging what you want. And unless you identify who they are, they have huge impact on your organization. On an individual level, they are doing things that feel good at the time. However, they're not good for you or them. It's not good for others, and it certainly doesn't serve the greater good. So what are the things that you're looking at in this case? Well, you got the gossip and rumor mill. And here's been my experience. Without a strong communication system in which we are both getting and receiving feedback, gossip will take over. 2, reruns of mistakes. How many of you had the same things happen over and over on a chronic level, and you can't seem to get them fixed? Failure to delegate. You know, how many of you have not been able to delegate because you haven't clarified what it is, who it is, and when it is? Unnecessary meetings. Usually when things are going badly, everybody's meeting to point the finger or the blame instead of fixing the problem. Withholding information. In these environments, when there is lots of fear going on, people withhold information to hold their position. CYA documentation. So again, people are pitted against one another. Instead of doing things that are accomplishing, they're covering their butt and using valuable time to save their job instead of save the company. Personal internet and telephone visits. This is a chance for them to do what they want, and sometimes it's done purposely to sabotage one department against another. Now we're at level 2. This is indifference and avoidance. It's also affectionately known as benign compliance. And here we have, this is the motto: whatever you say, boss. But the point is that this is a passive-aggressive sort of a way of not doing what has to. And employee engagement, where we're trying to get with the gray-collar concept, is very different. Engaged employees are not the same as satisfied employees. And what you're going to see here is that this quadrant, benign compliance, is satisfied. And what that means is they're as apt to spend time with coworkers working on personal stuff and socializing as they are doing their own job. They're not being held accountable to produce as much as they could, and they have very low job stress. They have a job, and they're happy, and they're content. And maybe in this environment, they're just saying, I'll do whatever it takes, whatever you say. They have a 9-to-5 job. They have no expectations for major contributions. In fact, they may resist new contributing assignments, arguing, I don't have any time. So where are they spending it? First of all, the good part is this feels good. It's good for them, but it's not good for others, and it doesn't serve the greater good. Business. Look at this. It's spending rework and scrap. Junk telephone calls and visits. Interruptions for unsolved problems. I don't know how to do this. And it's happened over and over again. People with problems, not solutions. I don't know why Fred or Tom isn't doing this. Waiting. And department infighting. All these are critical to the business and may, in fact, prevent it from getting to the next step. And then, of course, you've got personality conflicts. Because, again, as I said earlier, when people are struggling to fix the problem, when they don't know where it is, they tend to fix the blame. And that causes huge conflict inside the organization. Now we're in the growth phase. What do we do to start working on this? And what we find in this case is that what you're engaging slowly but importantly, is involvement and awareness. The motto of these people is a little different. Whatever I can learn. Now, effective leaders are beginning to draw out the best in others. At level 2, you've broken through their indifference, and they are now willing and able to help. They may be a little withdrawn. They may be curious as to whether you're going to follow through or not, and this is where you as a leader must follow through. They go beyond assignment. Now they're looking for ways to contribute. This is where the rubber really meets the road. And on an individual, here's what happens. It may not feel good, but it is good for you. It's good for others, and it serves a greater good. And on the business side, here's the fun part. Day-to-day activities for profitable jobs. These are important. The next thing it does, it enables you to meet deadlines. 3, it has immediate opportunities. This is something we do now. We can make money immediately. 4, following profit-critical procedures, helping them understand that these policies and procedures were not designed to hem them in as much as they were to give them guidance and help them focus on the things that are really important. Safety. And when we speak of safety, obviously physical safety is important, but they need to be encouraged. They need to be mentally, emotionally, and spiritually engaged so they feel like they can make a contribution and not be beat up for it. First-time quality. Really focus on the idea that, hey, can we do this the first time? What would that mean to us? You can start bringing the joy of getting things done first time, every time. Complete, accurate, on-time paperwork. In most organizations, we find fix-it factories in which people from one department throw their mistakes over to another department and expect them to fix it. And many times they do, because they say, hey, that's my job. I'm fixing companies. I'm fixing paperwork. I'm looking for increased accuracy. And the fact of the matter is that when you resolve this, it now permits people to focus on things that they were hired to do instead of somebody else's. We need to provide them with necessary supplies, resources, and support. And if you do that, now you're in the profit stage. Now things are happening that are potentially very, very helpful for you. Level 4, we're at commitment and empowerment. Here's the motto for these people: whatever it takes. And when you talk about that, this is the gray-collar culture at its best. At this level, the organization is all pulling in the same direction, and the leaders are keeping them informed and actively seeking their feedback on how to get better. And when you start moving them in this direction, this is what happens. When you start applying positive pressure, individually, here's what happens. It may not feel good, but it's good for you, it's good for others, and it serves a greater good. It's important, but it may not be urgent. And that is most critical. And what it does for the business is this. They're proactive goals. People are now seeking out ways to be able to help, whether it's the janitor saying, you know, I can change and modify my procedures here to reduce costs, to get better times, to keep the place cleaner, whatever that is. Second thing, mission based on values. Everyone is connected by the same values: to be profitable, to be honest, to have integrity, to work hard, to commit to a bigger ideal. Roles based on building relationships. How do we get people working together because they're really focused on how we can, as a team, grow and do things that everybody else thought was impossible? Win-win alternatives. If we can help the frontline worker, that gray-collar worker, that blue-collar worker who's been stuck in a corner wondering what's going on, when suddenly he understands, as we've had some of our clients realize that what they do is important. And the best example I can give you is from a company that made PVC pipe that was an integral part of the information superhighway. Here they were with 6th to 8th grade educations wondering, you know, what is this job all about? And once they realized that they were contributing to the information superhighway because the pipes that they were doing were multicolored, so that when it left Los Angeles, when it came out the other side, the fiber optics would go to the right place. They were jazzed. They went home and told everybody about how they were working on the computer, and they never had a chance to do that before. It changed their attitude. Working on self-improvement and business improvement daily. We know, and we have research to prove, that if an organization spends 15 minutes a day with every individual in it working on something that's important to the business at their role, their task, their process, and then spends the balance of the time just doing their day-to-day activities, productivity increases massively. And this is an important thing for you to consider.